I like deals.
Well, welcome back to another World of Warcraft Gold Guide. Today we will be looking into an age-old question. What is better, auction house or raw gold? But before we get into that, with YouTube favoring flavor of the month instead of actually small channels like mine, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell button and hit select all to know when I upload my videos. This guide will be more info than flash and graphic. This guide is meant to help people make gold and understand gold, so hit that like button. We are all familiar with the two types of gold making, but let's get a rundown of them. Raw. Anything that is not sold on the auction house. Auction house. Anything sold on the auction house in game. There is more, but most players use these types of gold making. The others range from player to player, meaning someone can buy from you all the time and do tins and do leveling with raids and so forth. Now I will stick with these first two instead of the other ones because this is going to be something that covers the whole game and honestly is something that everybody uses compared to the other one. Every day I see people post comments like this. Auction house is better, I can make 100k off of one item. Raw gold is better, I for sure can get 100% gold. Best way to make gold is to sell runs. These comments are the reasons why most are stuck under a million gold and can't get past their own norm. Now, don't take this as a shot at anyone. I'm here to teach you and help you earn gold. Now let's go over the auction house is better, I can make 100k off of one item topic. Now to be fair, yes, you can get an amazing item and it sells ASAP, but that is rare for most. The most common comment I get is my TMOG never sells, I have been posting it for months and it's not going nowhere. Now I could get into what strings and groups you need, but that's for another video. As seen on screen, my monks just post everything, and a TMOG every day is actually selling. And to be honest with you, again, it comes back down to the TSM setup, and that's a big thing, and honestly that is something that you need to learn in the future. Now back to the topic, we're actually going to be showing many ranks when it comes to selling on an auction house. It's going to be from S all the way to F. Now take this with a grain of salt, this is actually going to average server sales. Materials come often in first with S rank, but when it's not a raid tier, it's actually going to be lower because no one cares about the materials and they're just buying the minimum there is there. Now let's get into it. Respectively at S rank is going to be raid and material items. When a new tier comes out, most raiders do not have time to farm materials, looking for an easy way to obtain flasks, potions, herbs, and etc. I've actually asked some streamers about this, and to be honest with you, some of the raider streamers said yes, this is what they like to actually have ahead of time. Now don't get me wrong, some of them do their own farming, but some of them actually buy the low end products whenever it comes to the next tier. Now with that said guys, most people will buy this 2 weeks before and 1 week after the tier release. Now don't get me wrong, you're going to sell after that too, or sell before that, but the most profitable is within a 2 week mark before the raid releases and a 1 week after, because the world first and obviously progression. As a gold maker, you should be gathering and hoarding each before each tier and even after with a few weeks. And the reason why I say this is because people are always going to want this, and this is something that you should be prepared for. When people come out and say, hey, you know what, you shouldn't be doing this, or hey, you don't need more than one stack, just to save, this is just false. This is going to be the people who are wanting you not to make the gold, and honestly, it's something that you should think about in the future because prices will triple if not double whenever the tier is coming closer. Now for expansions, most materials are useless after the first 2 weeks. After that, everybody's already doing the new materials and you don't need to worry about that. So there's no reason to stack anything when it comes to a new expansion. Now let's get into the next rank. A rank auction house items are going to be BOEs, including twinking items and crafting items. Most mythic guilds want to progress fast and have the best gear out there. With the release of 8.3, we will be seeing a great deal of BOEs in the raid. This time around, we're getting 7 of them. Shown on the screen, you can actually get a ring and a weapon. These two alone will sell for millions. The ring has haste and crit, making it amazing for most classes with a socket. The offhand is great for warlocks, which are going to be a great class in 8.3. If you want to actually see a great, amazing warlock, check out my buddy Cal. It will be in the description. He's amazing. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to warlocks. With 7 BOEs and 2 of them sought after, farming these early will profit you a lot in the first 4 weeks of progression and beyond. Even now, EP BOEs are still selling for 100k, so it's a surefire way of making gold. Just find a group that will stay long to farm. Also, yes, we will be forming a group for subs, and we'll be doing this on our farm, so stay tuned for that, guys. We'll at least be doing heroic if normal when the raid becomes available. Now, I do want to say right now too as well, also farming for tweaking items is very profitable market because you can actually run dungeons for other people and level them up, which we'll be talking in that later. I do not want to put too much time into that in this subject subject. Crafting weapons and gear can be a good way to make gold too as well, because ults are a thing this expansion. With the event going on right now, you're selling probably a lot of this because people want to get that eye level up real quick to get that world quest and emissaries to a better eye level. Now with that said, guys, let's move on to the next rank. Next rank would be B, and it would be materials if it's not a tier. So if you want to see the materials, you've already heard about it, guys, if you made it this far. So let's actually move on to C, T-Mog. T-Mog can be a hit or miss on your server. Either people are wanting T-Mog or they just don't. One of the most common Mog out there is actually going to be called S. And to be honest with you, I refrain from actually saying the real word because YouTube has changed their rules, and I do not want to get a strike or anything like that if it turns out to be that way. This Mog is sought after from raiders and to role players alike due to its unique look. Now, there's a lot of them, and to be honest with you, they do have a big unique look, and I think a lot of people take it overboard with it, but that's for another video. Now, when you're selling this, you need to be active a lot. I'm talking about when you're selling it, the S Mog or any other Mog, you need to be able to repost it a lot. You can't expect to put it on an auction house and sell it right away. I have tons of T-Mog that's worth 100k and to a million, and those things do not sell that often. And the reason why is because no one cares about ugly Mog. This is something that a lot of people don't understand, and I think that people, unless you're selling to a collector, people are not going to buy the ugly Mog. I don't care if it's out of game or if it's in game. If it's an ugly Mog that goes with nothing, they don't want it. No one wants a back that looks like a crap and is worth 1,000,000 gold because it's just not in game. That's the way it works. Now, especially with role playing, unless the role player wants to actually have a full ugly Mog dress robe and they're like, man, that would go great with it, that may be an exception. But usually the average player will see a gloves that looks so trashy or something, another glove that looks exactly the same, even though that one's 1,000,000, this one's only 500 gold. They're gonna go for the 500 gold because they're like, I don't really need that one. But again, if it's a collector, they would buy it from you, but most of the time you're not going to find that collector. People are always looking for a better T-Mog, so when you're selling T-Mog, try to farm T-Mog that goes good as sets. Yes, we will have a whole series inbound about farming sets, so stay tuned for that, guys. I really have something planned for y'all. But back to the subject. As you can see, the Monk has T-Mog sells, not millions, but sells every day due to this. I honestly have a great setup that I want to show you in a future video that will get you selling right on track. Remember, guys, do not be greedy. Yes, I know people have this thing that just, undercut a copper. But if you look at the markets right now, you're not going to sell for 100% of value. And the reason why I say that, let's say a cloak goes for 100k. You're not going to sell it for 100k. You're just not going to sell it. There's going to be people who are selling it for 20k, 50k. Point being is don't be greedy. Like I said, don't be greedy and you'll be fine. To be honest with you, don't undercut too much either. You don't want to ruin your market. Ruining your market is going to be very bad for yourself and for the economy. Now, I do want to say right now, do not have to follow the rules of everybody, okay? I'm not pushing towards people who say, hey, just, try not to burst the market and so forth. But there's people out there who do buy out the markets and they reset everything. But I will say right now that you don't have to play by everybody's rules. You play this game for you. And if you want to actually sell your items for a certain, go ahead, do it. Don't feel pressure to follow a simple rule that everybody wants to do. So with that said, guys, let's move into the next rank. The next rank is going to be D, pets. Big thing about pets are this. They can be farmed in no time and easy to buy from one server and sell to another. You would think this would be a legit way to actually make gold on a new server, and you would be right. One of the main things that people do is buy cheap pets on one server, learn them, then actually cage them on another server, and actually sell them for huge profits. Now this is a great way to actually get your ults up. Now, if you were wondering why this is AD and not higher on the list, well, I answered that almost everyone does this, making pets overpopulate and, to be honest, take longer to sell, making only the very rare and hard to get to actually sell faster. The ones that are going for 5 to 10k sell a little bit slow because everybody is doing this. Still, selling pets is not a bad way to make gold for ults, but it's not the best or even close to the top best. Now let's move on to the next rank. So the next rank is going to be E, and it's going to be mounts. Most easy mounts sell for under 5k. There are many and most players have them. Now for the mounts like Sky Golem, Panthers, Crafting, that takes a month and so forth, those will always sell because people want them and they actually don't want to go and farm this stuff or do it themselves. You make little to no profit compared to the others on the list though. This is why mounts are very low, because you can make a Sky Golem and you'll probably only get about 5 to 10k at most. Not saying that's always the case, but most of the time you won't make that much from those crafting mounts. Now I will say that some of them do actually make a little bit more than the other ones, so there's got to be research on your server. Yes, you can can do trading card mounts, but I'm going to tell you right now, the average Joe does not have a white rhino or a spectacled tiger, so forth, because that's just very rare. And even if you did, you'll probably take a while to sell. A lot of people are not just going to go out and spend about a gold cap just get a tiger mount, or about 500,000, a million plus gold for a rhino card. Now, with that said, there's always other ways to make gold when it comes to mounts. You can actually go and do the sky shards. You can actually go do any mounts that require you to gather 10 or 9 of these fragments, so forth. But it's not like everybody's already doing that. Actually, everybody is already doing that, and it's just something that I think that mounts are way on bottom of the list, because there's so many people doing this, and to be honest with you, it's easy to get these mounts nowadays. Now let's actually move into the next rank. The F rank, and this is something that I actually gonna stand by, is everything else. Stuff that includes follower equipment, items used to making items other than materials, etc. This category takes longer to sell because it's not actually current content, and people are not actually actively looking for it. Now, there's a lot of times when people do need items and they want to look for something, and you might sell some old bar that was worth 1,000 gold. And you're like, oh man, see, I sold this, and still make money. Yes, I understand that. I understand that there's some true steal stuff, or there's so forth that's going on in a community that you want to do because you want to make some gold. But realistically, there's items that are worth 1,000 each. Like I've seen an item that was worth 1,000 each, and you got 200 of them. They're not gonna sell. They're just not. Now, maybe they're worth that much, but the active player is not going to be there looking for that specific item at that time. So you have a 50-50 chance when it comes to the items that you put on auction house when they're old. Now, with that said, guys, it all depends on your server. All these ranks that I just put out there are my ranking, and that's actually my history of what I've been through. So let me know in the comments below what your ranks and what you've been through and so forth. This is the fun part of that I want to tell y'all, is that this is actually just part 1. Now, I got a lot to go over. I got raw gold, I got the comparisons, I got all that stuff, but I don't want to put it all in one video. So if you enjoyed this, if you found this interesting, if you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments below. I do want to say right now that I don't want to overwhelm people with a whole 30 to 40 minute video, so that's why we don't have all the parts together. Now, with that said, guys, if you enjoy this content and if you want to be a little extra and you want to give it out there, go check out my Patreon. It will be in the description. I want to say thank you so much to those guys out there, gals. They went the extra mile and are my Patreons, and they will be getting a lot of gifts this next 12 days, because I'm doing a 12-day of Christmas thing. So if you're actually a Patreon, you get a gift every day. I'm going to be holding it on the side, so if I can't meet with my Patrons, you're going to actually get a mount or a pet every day. So with that said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, like always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button, and stay stashy.